Hi, I'm Dr. MLE Beachwitch. Welcome to my Stop, Drop, and Roll Tarot Spread. I'm broadcasting to you live from the Gulf of Mexico, and yes, I'm a writer. I brought my notes. I'm very intentionally at Lido Key, which is one of the barrier islands that was devastated by hurricanes Debbie, Helene, and Mitch in 2024. It was rough down here, y'all. Mad Max for like months. And a hurricane is not something that you learn in kindergarten what to do about, right? Like, there is no stop, drop, and roll for a hurricane. In kindergarten, since the 1970s, worldwide, we all, like hardwire that catchy, memorable 3-step action plan for what to do if you're caught on fire. Stop, drop, roll. But this is actually a rare occurrence. Hopefully, this is a rare occurrence. We aren't actually being caught on fire. Not nearly as much as we are getting caught in hurricanes, let me tell you. Okay, regardless, worldwide since the 1970s, we are all prepared from kindergarten to stop, drop, and roll. This tarot spread offers the emotional, metaphysical, cognitive, existential equivalent. So, if you're struggling with a decision, a crossroads, a family dynamic, a situation at work, a major life change, a midlife crisis, a breakup, anything that feels out of control, like say a Cat 4 hurricane, this spread will give you practical, actionable advice. It won't fix the situation, but it will help you to handle this crisis with maturity, grace, confidence, and yes, even curiosity. The spread will help you to feel like you are doing something. It will refocus your mental energy and invite you to explore the kinds of symbolic action that do in fact generate change. All right, so the sun is setting behind me on the Gulf of Mexico, so I'm gonna get out of the way and let you enjoy the view while I coach you through this spread and share 3 examples. This is actually the first 3 times I used the spread, and I just found that it worked so beautifully and was so magical, which is why I decided I wanted to share it with you. Get out your tarot, shuffle the cards however you like, meditate on whatever it is that's going on, whatever you want to problem solve here, because this is very much a problem solving tarot spread. And when you're ready, cut the deck 3 times, laying out 3 separate piles. And you can, again, listen to your intuition, improvise here. So I might take off the top, put it in the middle, take off the middle, put it last, and then the bottom goes first, right? Again, however you like, do what feels right to you, cut into 3 piles. Flip the top cards over. This is your 3-step action plan, which is guaranteed to put out any emotional, cognitive, metaphysical, existential fire. Take time to distill each card into a simple, actionable step. Then flip the piles over and reflect on the cards on the bottom. These cards give you some information about what's on the other side. So they might represent what's threatening or opposing you. They might represent the problem itself or an obstacle, something that's preventing you from taking right action or seeing the situation clearly. These cards might represent what you'll let go of and leave in the past if you act. Maybe these cards represent alternative or follow-up actions. Listen to those bottom cards and use your intuition. And then, of course, I invite you to put the top and the bottom in conversation with each other. All right, so an endlessly generative, super fun tarot spread that I highly recommend. This is, yes, a quirky spread that's totally imbued with my personality. So I wanted to walk y'all through 3 examples of times that I worked with this spread and fell in love with it. Like I said, these are the first 3 times I drew this spread for other people, and I really just fell in love with it immediately. Take what works for you, ignore the rest, improvise as needed. The first time I did this spread for another person was for my sister, who works for, my little sister, who works for the CDC and is technically a DOD employee. We happened to be playing with the tarot on January 20th, 2024, a particularly threatening inaugural Martin Luther King Monday for federal employees in the United States. We weren't talking about that, but it was heavy in the air like fog or a fart. And I do think it's important to bring in this context. My little sister drew the 4 of Wands, the Hermit, and the 5 of Swords from the Gentle Tarot deck, which features gorgeous hand-painted natural imagery. So you've got the 4 of Wands, the Hermit, and the 5 of Swords, which is called Thunder in this deck. All right, so stop, drop, and roll only works if you do all 3 steps. So it's important to read the cards in conversation with each other. It's also important to work with the vibe of the tarot deck and listen to the specific information these cards are giving you. So we see here that the Hermit and the 5 of Swords both feature foxes in very different poses. So the archetype of the fox understands the subtleties of camouflage. Small dog or log, starlet or spy. Fox is ready to stand out or blend in and has the wisdom to know which is needed. So we interpreted these cards to be sharing this message. 1, 4 of Wands, pause and remember your strength, right? Like you can transform like the caterpillar into the butterfly. 2, the Hermit, bathe in Dr. Singha's mustard bath and gather information on your phone. Yes, I invite you to be this delightfully specific in your readings. And the 5 of Swords, wear camouflage panties, put your head down and get to work. Maybe you are right where you need to be right now. Which distills into pause, bathe, camouflage. The second time I did this tarot spread was also for my little sister. We were having some drama with our middle sister. So we drew again almost immediately, meditating on family dynamics and asking the cards to help us navigate some challenging conversations we were going to have with our sister because she was going to force us to. So we drew, not surprisingly, the Tower, the 5 of Wands, and Death. Okay, so totally not surprised by this. So in fact, we're feeling spicy, so we laugh and we distill the message into burn, rage, and let go. So as you can see in the Gentle Tarot, the 5 of Wands features 2 brown bears head on, ready to rumble. Death features a hermit crab and encourages, let go of that tight, rigid shell, little hermit crab, because even if you can't see or imagine it, there's a comfy shell that is more vibrant and more you, just waiting for you to crawl in. And the Tower as well, the Tower with lots of lightning bolts. We laughed because the tarot reading was so spot on. And then we went out for lunch, ate some veggie burgers. I dropped her off at the airport and blithely we went about our separate lives. The next day, just when there happened to be a Pluto Cazimi, our middle sister burnt everything down and my little sister and I haven't spoken in a month. Yes, I do know better than to laugh at the tarot. And yes, in retrospect, I wish I'd heeded the message. This is going to hurt. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. Third and final version of this spread. Party like it's 1999, release money stress, and buy a work band. So the third time I did this spread was for my boyfriend who's about to turn 40 and will be celebrating his birthday back home in Oregon on a snowboarding trip with his bros. He flies home once a year to party with his best friends since 5th grade, see his nieces, catch up with his family, and reconnect with the mountain he loves. After 5 years of dragging his feet and working up the courage to take a massive financial risk, he's also about to start up his own plumbing business. He finally took and passed all the exams, chose a business name, filed his LLC paperwork, and designed a logo. So now all he needs is a work van and like $10,000 worth. After 5 minutes of dragging his feet, he thinks the tarot can be a bossy bitch, and sometimes she can, but I assured him in this instance she would be super sweet. He drew the Devil, the Four of Pentacles, and the Fool. Because the Devil is his favorite card, we interpreted this to be encouraging him to shake off whatever is shackling him, money worries, family stories about financial insecurity, etc., and rage with his bros, to party like it's 1999. The Four of Pentacles was a gentle invitation to ground himself on the mountain with his family in the high desert he calls home, that has been tugging on his heartstrings ever since we moved to Gulf Coast, Florida. Release stress about not having enough money, power. What he has is enough, and he can always create more. And the Fool. Dive in, make a leap, change paths, be spontaneous, trust the universe, believes in you. So the Devil, party like it's 1999. The Four of Pentacles, release money stress by reconnecting with the mountain. And the Fool, buy a work van. And this is how we come full circle to hurricanes. The best thing about hurricanes is that nothing else matters. Let me say that again. The best thing about hurricanes is that nothing else matters. All that matters is the hurricane, lumbering towards you and gathering speed or losing it, constantly changing her mind, coming straight at you, and you pray she'll shift north or south and hit Tampa or Miami, because the one certainty is that the Gulf Coast is going to get hammered. It's just a question of where. And for days this goes on. The hurricane is a Cat 3, then a Cat 4, then verging on Cat 5, then dropping back to 3. And everyone you know is hysterical and yelling at you to leave, to get out. Did you know the mayor said that everyone should write their names on their forearms in Sharpie, so when you drown, they'll be able to identify your body? And you might end up smack dab in the eye, where the winds will shift over warm water and you'll end up on the north wall of the eye, which is the worst, scariest place to be. And this is about when the electricity goes out and the internet goes down and all the windows are boarded, so all you can do is wait and breathe or pray or believe or drink or trip or whatever it is you like to do in these moments. Or maybe if you're lucky, the incredible barometric pressure knocks you out and you sleep the deepest, most dreamless sleep of your entire life. And then it's the next day and the world is wet and demolished and fueled by the constant hum of generators and sounds somehow quieter. This is when you really settle in, because you know you won't get power or internet back for at least 10 days and probably longer, because an enormous pine fell through the power lines at the end of the block and snapped a couple poles in half, and it's just dangling a few feet above the concrete, cradled in electrical wire. This is how nothing else matters. There is literally nothing you can do but turn on the solar-powered radio your mother bought you when she freaked out after Hurricane Ian, smoke some marijuana, or maybe take a shot of rum being a liquor that's good enough hot, and the shot being the only proper way to consume hot rum, and play gin rummy or dice, because nothing else matters. Once you lean into it, this can be a very beautiful place to rest and recuperate while the linesmen and the cops and the city workers and the plumbers and the electricians and the arborists and the gasmen and the truckers label all hours of the night and the day to turn the world back on for you. My boyfriend is a frontline worker. He's a plumber with a remarkable nervous system, which is really great in a Cat 4 hurricane and really awful in romance. And this is how I come to nervous systems, which is what I think that stop, drop, and roll, you know, the three-step action plan from the 70s that was going to save us all when inevitably we all caught in fire, which never happened. And then that sort of void, the lack thereof for the stuff that actually can and does happen and just terrorizes your nervous system and rips it to shreds. Like, say, a Cat 4 hurricane. In the days leading up to the hurricane, everyone was hysterically yelling at me and my boyfriend to get out, to save ourselves and our pets, and we did not. And that was primarily his decision. It's a decision that I turned over to him for various good reasons. And throughout, we're not leaving, we're not leaving, we're not leaving. To the point where, because I wanted to believe him, but I didn't know how, and everyone else was yelling at me in the opposite direction and telling me he was wrong, I said to him, do you not have a nervous system? Are you a reptile or an alien? His answer, ever since I almost got hit by a missile on the shitter in Afghanistan, my nervous system just doesn't work anymore. I just can't get bothered by things. He was a plumber in Afghanistan, and as the story goes, there was his favorite time of day and his favorite very clean porta potties where he liked to take his morning dump, and he went there per routine one morning. As soon as he sits down and starts, the sirens go off, there's an incoming missile, and he does what he can do, which is cover his head and curl up on the shitter. Keep in mind, he's a plumber, right? On a toilet in Afghanistan, you know, and he's like, this is how I die. This is how I die. The missile hits about 300 feet away and he lives. I've been living with this story since October. It's now early February. You can do the math. And I still, you know, it's one of those stories I'm just kind of awestruck by, and I like to tell over and over again because I don't quite know what to make of it. There's so many layers, so many facets. I had been with my boyfriend for 8 years, living with him for 6 years, across the country together 5 years ago, bought a house across the country 5 years ago together, and I never heard this story, not how we're about to be hit by a Cat 4 hurricane. And again, this I think explains a lot about his personality, for better and for worse, and maybe that's the most beautiful, vulnerable thing that you can ever know about another person, that kind of soft underbelly that only comes out in moments of extreme crisis. And no, I am not trying to find a silver lining to, you know, having that strong of a hurricane that you're right where you live, because it truly is devastating. Yes, I am in a roundabout way leading up to stop, drop, and roll tarot spread, which I may or may not have drawn while I was filming this video, but that's another story. That's another episode. Thank you for tuning in. Please try the stop, drop, and roll, and stay in touch. I would love to hear what comes up, what comes out of this spread for you, what questions you have, how you empathize and modify it as you do it. So on that note, I am Dr. MLE Twitch. Back out, y'all. Gotta enjoy what's left of this very fine